Hello everyone, Fanta here, you're watching FANTAVISION, and today I want to talk about how this is the best era of gaming. I'm also going to have another video called This is the Worst Era of Gaming, and they're going to be kind of companion pieces that you can go back and forth between and see which parts you agree with, which parts you disagree with, and I just want to go and take a look at right now with video games from the best possible light and the worst possible light, and you guys can decide which is more accurate. Also, before I get too far into this video, check out my new channel. If you're into Pokemon cards at all, I'm trying to start my own Pokemon business, so go check that out. I'm gonna walk you through every step of the way, and episode 0, actually, not episode 1, episode 0 is out right now. Check it out. Now, starting off with the best things about this era in gaming, I gotta talk about the graphics.
Dear God in heaven, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Now, graphics I'm starting off with because they're essentially, to me at least, the least important part when it comes to a video game. Yes, bad graphics can ruin a video game, but good graphics are not going to make a bad video game good. However, I do want to say that overall, I mean, obviously, this is the best era with graphics. I mean, some of the graphics in today's video games are absolutely jaw-dropping, and I could never have fathomed that they would look like this when I was a kid. I mean, I grew up in not like the NES or Super Nintendo era, but on my Nintendo 64. From those graphics to what we have now is a monumental leap. And it's insane. The graphical fidelity of these games is crazy. And I think that's just something that we should be happy about. It's something that we should definitely take into account when we're looking at whether or not we're living in a great era for gaming. I mean, even games that are completely free have amazing graphics. And it's just amazing to see how far we've come. And it also makes me think, how far can we go? I know in the past there have been many times where people think, oh, this is it, we're done. Like at one point, I think it was like in the 20s, maybe even the 1800s, where they thought we had invented everything. So they closed down, they wanted to close down the patent office. Somebody said that. They're like, let's just close it down. We're done. We've invented everything. Everything's done. So I would hate to say that this is the peak of graphics. It can't get better than this. I think it can. However, do I think it should? I feel like is another topic for another day. But I just want to say the graphics we have nowadays are just insane.
Okay, turn it on.
Come on, Gamesville.
Whoa!
The hardware, the systems we can play games on now are, again, it's just something that I never thought would be possible. I mean, the fact that the Steam Deck exists is crazy. A personal handheld computer that you can play a ton of games on very well. I mean, The Witcher, you can play The Witcher on the go, and I know you can do that with the Switch, but kind of. And the Switch is honestly another piece of tech and hardware example that I want to bring up, because the Switch is also something that is crazy. The games that are optimized for that system, the games that run well on that system, are not games I thought you'd be able to play on a handheld. Legend of Zelda, the Splatoon games look great, and Skyrim. I know Skyrim's going to look a lot better on here, but that's besides the point. The point is the fact that you can play these games on the go at all is crazy to me. It just blows my mind. If I showed this to my childhood self that had my like Game Boy Color with that frickin' squiggly light thing, and I'm trying to see past the glare of the light in my car at night, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on really in the game, and then I show him this, he'd lose his mind. He'd lose it. Another thing that isn't a handheld that is still very impressive is the Xbox Series S. Now I know it's holding back the Xbox generation a little bit because Microsoft is having a little bit of unreasonable expectations for it, because they want parity between the Series S and the Series X. So it's making some games get delayed, and some games don't even come for the Xbox because of that limitation. But the Xbox Series S, for the price that you can get it, I mean, I think At one point, it went on sale down to $150 or around that range. That's amazing. That value, like that's crazy that you can play something on also such a small device too. I mean, the Xbox Series S is tiny. So you've got this power in these small devices that I think is just something to be praised. It's great. It's wonderful. I feel like I would be remiss if I did not mention these when in this hardware section, but the fact that so many SBC, which means single board computer devices, exist, and for the price that they do, is amazing. I mean, these things can emulate, I think this one specifically can emulate all the way up to PlayStation 1 and well. So the fact that I think this was 40, 50 bucks. I think I got it on sale for around that price range. Just that amount of power and this tiny little device, all you do is put an SD card in it and you load up just whatever you want. You can play all these old games. Some Android games have been ported over to these systems. The fact that we have hardware like this is great, especially for the price.
Are you ready for a miracle?
And that's another thing I want to talk about, is the cost of video games, I feel, is lower than ever. And that's because of Steam sales, giant sales on pretty much every platform's own store. We've got Black Friday, we've got countless holiday sales, we've got those hardware devices that are not that expensive, like the SBC systems. I'm sure the Switch is going to go dropping in price. Old systems are, okay, retro systems are still expensive, but for the most part, it feels like everything over time goes down. If a game comes out, yes, for $70, at some point that game will be $15 to $20. It's just a matter of time. And then because of the number of indie games coming out, so many games go on sale. And so many of those indie games are like 15, 20 bucks, even when they first come out and not on sale. And then the Xbox Series S, like I mentioned earlier, all these different options to get into gaming in a cheaper way than you could in the past. And then you also got membership things like Xbox Game Pass or the PlayStation Plus thing, where yes, they're a little bit more pricey, but the number of games you get and the service you get, it's still a really good value. Has it gone up in price? Yes. Is it going to be a bad value at some point? I'm sure. But for now, Game Pass is still one of the best values in gaming. You pair that with a Series S, and you're golden. I mean, you can even use a Steam Deck with Game Pass. There's so many different things you can do to harness value to get yourself into video games in a cheap way. I mean, you get yourself a budget gaming PC, you're going to be able to play so many things for so cheap.
It's over 9,000! What, 9,000? There's no way that can be right!
And just spinning off right into another topic, look at these transitions, they're amazing. The number of games right now that you can play that are amazing are greater than ever before. Now, of course, this is going to be true next year, the year after, because more and more games will keep coming out. So it's always going to be true that the future is always going to have more and more games than now. But right now, the variety of games we have, the amount of experiences we can have. I mean, even the older games, like just look back at how many classics. If you haven't played those games and you're sick of modern games, you can go back and there's tons of stuff. And then if you do want to play modern stuff, but you're sick of AAA, then you can play a bunch of great indie games. If you like AAA games, there's still a lot of great AAA games that haven't really come out recently, but for the most part, there are so many games out there for you to choose from that you will never get bored. There's an infinite amount of content and video games out there that it would take multiple lifetimes to even experience a fraction of them at this point. I mean, my Steam backlog is horrifying, but I've just had to accept the fact that I will die before playing my entire library, and I'm okay with that. I mean, even the game collection I have back here, so many hours of gameplay and fun to be had behind me. And that's great. And because there's such a wide variety, because there are so many games, you can find them at great deals, and it's hard to be bored nowadays. We've got all these different ways and different games we can play that will never ever be bored. even during gaming droughts, which is just a ridiculous term to me. Like, yes, there's a drought in releases, but I don't get the people that say they're bored. It's like, have you really found the time to play all of the games in your library? Have you really had the time to play all the great games out there? That's so baffling to me that anybody would ever think that there is a too long of a time between game releases when I can't keep up. I just can't.
Door stuck! Door stuck! Please! I beg you! We're dead! You're a genuine dick sucker!
And then the reason why I haven't caught up on my backlog or played most of those games on that wall is because of multiplayer games. Never has it been easier to play with your friends in any period of gaming, especially with cross-platform games. And the fact that cross-platform games exist is great, because back in the day, it's like if I have an Xbox, or you have a PlayStation, or a Nintendo system, you're all on your own little islands. Even if the same game comes out for all the different platforms, maybe not Nintendo, but if it's on Microsoft's platform or Sony's platform, and you got friends over here and friends over here, you can't play together, and that just sucked. Like, it was annoying that I had to buy not only another copy of the game, but another system to play with these people. It's just ridiculous. So a lot of big multiplayer games like Call of Duty, Fortnite, I think Apex Legends, War Thunder, all of these massive multiplayer games have cross-platform integration, and that's phenomenal. I feel like every multi-platform multiplayer game should. A lot of multis here. Every multiplayer, multi-platform game should have cross-platform gameplay. That was a mouthful, but I think the more games, the better to embrace this, because not only is it allowing people to play together and making multiplayer easier, it's also going to incentivize people to want to continually, interact with your product. And because of that, you're going to have more and more people playing, and it's just going to be better for everybody. And the fact that right now on Steam you can just jump into people's games for most things, and Xbox, it's easy with like friends lists and all these different things that make it easier to play with other people, except for on the Nintendo platforms. It's never been better, and it's so much nicer than the old days where you had to like type in someone's IP address. What was it on Diablo 2 again? When you needed to join someone, you had to like type it in specifically. Even old Minecraft, and I guess modern Minecraft too, if you're not playing on the like horrible Xbox version, you have to type in a bunch of stuff to get somewhere and connect to a thing and hope it works and pay for servers and all this other stuff. Whereas most multiplayer games this day, you see somebody playing a game that you own, you click join party, and you're in. That's how it should be, and I'm glad it's like that now, because it makes connecting with friends that are either countries apart or states apart, just far away, so much easier. So there you go. Those are some of the reasons why this right now is the best era in gaming ever. I'll be coming out with my worst era of gaming video very soon. Let me know why you think this is the best gaming era, and if you want to watch that next video, if it's out already, it'll be down below as like the pinned comment, or it'll be one of those boxes over here somewhere. Thanks for watching. Of course, like the video if you guys liked it. Subscribe for more content, and as always, have a fantastic day. See you, everybody.